Party people of the world! Do you know what time it is? It's music time. We are so pumped up to the jam to have you with us. I am Morgan Mitchell, and with me as always is Tanner Grover.
What's up, Morgan, and what's up, universe? You are indeed tuning into a podcast where two friends who love music, yet have virtually no musical acumen, take a deep dive into the vibes that really make us jive.
That's right, because if there's anything that unites us all, it's music. An audible sensation. To live without it is simply deprivation. So, we're here to hear and to share a little slice of a subject that gives us life.
Tick-tock, tick-tock. Are y'all ready to rock? Tell me, friends, what time is it on your clock?
It's music time! Hello, and welcome. Welcome to the It's Music Time podcast. My name is Morgan Mitchell.
And I am Tanner Grover, and this is what we do. And today we are doing it with
Julia Gagnon, Nate, and Odin.
All of the above.
Yes. Okay, that was a lot. Let's try that again. Okay, so we've got Julia Gagnon. We've got Nate Haven. Is that right?
Yes.
And we've got Odin. Does Odin have a second name?
I think he's a Gagnon, isn't he? Yeah. I signed his birth certificate.
He's a Gagnon?
He's a Gagnon.
He's a Gagnon. Oh.
Odin Gagnon.
Hi, sweetie. All right, so Julia Gagnon, Odin Gagnon, Nate Haven. A beautiful trio over here. Welcome.
So
Thank you. We're so happy to be here.
We are just so elated to have you. This is, for all of our listeners, the It's Music Time season finale, season 1, wrapping up December 15th. It's been a trip, 12 episodes up, 12 episodes down, and we have an American Idol in the house.
Incredible!
Unbelievable, yep, and we're going to get into all that story as well as the Here in Maine tour from this past summer, upcoming projects with Julia and Nate. We're really excited about that, but we always start off every show with a little game. It's a trivia game. And today we are going to play Idol Icon. So you're going to get 5 questions. You're allowed to collaborate. And the answer is either going to be 1, Mr. Lambert, Adam Lambert, or the OG herself, Kelly Clarkson. So the answer will either be Adam or Kelly. So, Julia, Nate, Odin, are you ready to play Idol Icon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Let's begin. Question number 1. Which idol icon is unfortunately allergic to peanuts? Is it Adam Lambert or Kelly Clarkson?
I feel like, I don't know why, but I feel like Adam would be allergic to peanuts.
I feel like, Kelly Clarkson does like cooking with the Kelly Clarkson show.
Does she?
Yeah, so I feel like she
wouldn't have peanuts.
I feel like that would be very limiting for a show that can have cooking on it.
Unless she makes a big deal of not having peanuts on that show every time, and we've just never watched it.
True.
Hello, Odin. Odin,
do you want to weigh in?
Adam or Kelly? Kelly.
Kelly.
He's saying Kelly.
Odin is correct.
Odin is correct.
You did it! Oh, congratulations!
Odin is correct. So just for listeners who are not watching the YouTube video, can you explain who Odin is just so people get a bit of a sense?
Odin is our child. He was adopted actually right before I went on Idol. We got him almost a year ago. And he is a Bernese mountain dog. He's 100 pounds and he's just barely 1 year old.
Wow.
And he apparently is better than trivia at both of us combined.
Totally. Yeah, he's crushing it so far. All right, well done, Odin. Well done, team.
So we are on to question number 2. Which idol icon is close personal friends with actress Anna Kendrick? Is it Adam Lambert or Kelly Clarkson?
You would know this.
I know Anna, but I don't know her friends. Okay, I feel like Anna started in theater, and because Jay's in theater, I was in theater, And Adam is very theater.
Mhm.
Odin. I think Adam.
Adam.
Adam, is that correct? Adam Lambert and Anna Kendrick, they're besties.
All right, you all are blowing my mind right now. Number 3, which Idol icon first professional job was as a cruise ship performer? Was it Adam or was it Kelly?
That's giving Adam.
I think it was Kelly.
You do?
I think so.
But why?
I feel like we were just talking about this the other day.
I feel like it's. You think Kelly? I thought her house burned down, and that was like why she. I guess you can still be a
You can
cruise
still be
performer.
on a cruise ship.
But I thought that was. I think it's Adam.
Okay, if
Oh.
you think it's Adam.
He didn't
Oh.
like that though.
Do you
Is
think
it-
it's Kelly?
Adam or Kelly? He's saying Adam.
Okay, Odin is right again. You are right again. Julie, I'm flipping out right now. Okay, number 4.
Number 4,
You were so smart.
which idol icon originally aspired to be a marine biologist, but then they changed their mind once they saw the movie Jaws? Was it Adam Lambert or Kelly Clarkson?
That's such a Kelly Clarkson thing to say. And Odin just left, so I feel like it's Kelly.
Final answer,
Kelly.
Kelly
Yeah,
Clarkson?
Kelly.
Kelly.
You are correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay,
4 for 4.
4 out of 4. Number 5, the final question.
Oh,
Which
no.
Idol icon stayed up all night before their American Idol audition so they wouldn't sleep through their alarm like they used to frequently do in high school? Was it Adam or was it Kelly?
That's also really Kelly coded. Don't you think?
Yeah.
She seems like she seems like she would say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kelly.
Kelly.
5 out of 5.
Let's go.
You nailed it.
I'm blown away. I'm blown away.
Wow.
Incredible work, team. Well done. What's up next, Tanner?
I'm just blown away by the thought that y'all put into each question. Like,
Serious.
you really like, we had some guests on here, and like, I love all of our guests, but those answers come a little bit quickly.
Yeah.
But y'all marinated on your answers.
Yeah, it was
And,
a beautiful balance of logic and instinct. There was like this real kind of thing happening, and that's how you make the dream work. Well
So-
done.
Yeah.
we are going to get into the bio that you provided for us, which is so generous, and we're going to dance around all the details and really highlight all the wonderful things you do. But before we do that, the one thing we like to do a lot of all of our guests, we like to illuminate them on the #1 Billboard song on the day they were born. So, Julia, you were blessed into our lives on March 29th, 2002. So,
Yeah.
do you know what the #1 song was on the day of your birth?
I do not know.
Well, that would be Ain't It Funny by J-Lo featuring Ja Rule.
No way.
That's it, yep.
Banger.
No. No, Nate, I didn't sleep on you either, all right? So your date of birth, correct me if I'm wrong, was it not September 5th, 2003?
February 5th.
February 5th.
February 5th.
February 5th.
All right.
Okay, now we might have to do some research.
We're going to
on the
have to
spot.
do a little bit of research on
Yep.
you. Do you have a sense? Do you have a sense of like what songs were trending during that time?
I think it was something by the Black Eyed Peas.
Hey.
You've got to pull out a phone. We gotta
That
figure
sounds
this
right.
out.
That sounds right.
Let me grab my mobile device.
Yeah, let's
We're
look.
going to confirm this.
All right, so February 5th, 2003.
February 5th, 2003. We're going to get this down. See, I had it September 5th, but I was wrong. That's all right. This is not a mistake-free program.
#1 song. #1 song. #1 song. It looks like it's No Way.
What is it?
It says All I Have by Jennifer Lopez featuring LL Cool J was the
What?
#1 song on February 5th. You both have J-Lo songs?
All I have. Wow. Wow.
If that is not
J-Lo bonded.
a sign of synchronicity and fate, I don't know what is. Yeah, All I Have by Jennifer Lopez featuring LL Cool J
Wow.
was the #1 song on February 5th, 2003. Julia and Nate, love to see this.
So in unrelated news, you're only doing J-Lo covers from now
Yeah,
on.
we're gonna have a J-Lo wedding.
Your J-Lo era is upon us. Okay, so let's get into it, Julia. I want to just highlight some of the magic that you're up to, some of the things you shared us about, and then, afterwards, if there's other things you want to add, or we can hear a little bit from you, Nate, about what you're up to and sort of your story and how you all met, that sort of thing. But I'll get right into it. So Julia, originally from Cumberland, Maine. Julia, and I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your last name right. It's Gagnon or Gagnon?
I say Gagnon.
Gagnon, beautiful.
Yes.
Julia Gagnon gained national acclaim after placing in the top 7 performers of the 22nd season of American Idol. Gagnon, a student of the University of Southern Maine, started her singing journey at school talent show. During her time with American Idol, Gagnon became a household name across the state, with Mainers rallying to support her in any way possible. From voting for her each week to hosting watch parties and wearing fan t-shirts, her fans and family have been supporting her journey to the very end. Following her success on the show, Gagnon announced a statewide tour last summer, the Here in Maine tour, and is currently working on writing and recording new music with her fiance and musical partner, Nate Haven. Julia Gagnon, welcome again. And Nate, to the It's Music Time podcast. Thank you so much for taking time to be with us. We're honored.
Oh, thank you. We're happy to be here. That's such a sweet bio. Nice. Nice. How did you do that?
You guys have a good press team.
We sure do.
So, we covered Julia, but Nate, if you wouldn't mind, just improvising a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah. So, I went to Southport High School, and that's kind of sort of close to Cumberland, about a 20-minute drive. So we kind of grew up in the same area, and
Maine.
yeah,
Southern Maine.
And yeah, I mean, I was just I didn't really have a huge upbringing in music. I didn't join any like choirs or band classes. I'm all self-taught with everything that I do. And I didn't really pick that up until like halfway through high school. I picked up guitar. And a couple years later, after high school, I started working at the Apple Store. And around Christmas time, Julia came in with a friend, and we kind of saw each other from across the store. And I walked up to her and trying to pretend to help her find something, knowing that I was interested in trying to get her number. And then by the end of the conversation, we exchanged numbers, and 2 days later, we went on our first date, and we've been together ever since.
Amazing.
Wow.
I love a love story.
Especially an Apple Store.
I know.
Yeah, there's nothing better than that.
Beautiful. And then when did you all kind of start collaborating creatively and musically in terms of writing songs or that sort of thing?
Honestly, right off the bat, we did not collaborate because, I don't know, we like to say most musicians know that, like, well, rather, from afar, 2 musicians together is very sweet, but when you put it together and you're up close, it can be a very bad idea because you have different ideas, but you also, like, you're both very passionate about your creativity and, like, your vision, which is not to say that we both aren't, and it isn't hard sometimes, but I think that's why we avoided writing, collaborating officially for a bit. And then probably a year into our relationship, we started singing together. And then a year and a half into our relationship, we actually started writing.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
But yeah, I think that's kind of the timeline on us working together in in parallel with being together.
Right. Okay. So like you've got this working relationship, and Nate, it struck me. You said you started playing guitar as a teenager. Which in a lot of ways it almost seems kind of late to me. To kind of like really get into playing. So if that was kind of your timeline, I want to hear more about that and kind of like maybe what prompted you to get into that. And by that same token, Julia, I'd like to hear from you. Like, when did you kind of first notice, like, hey, wait a minute, Julia sings a bit, So when did that happen?
You
So-
go first.
For the longest time, I wasn't really interested in playing guitar or learning it. I thought that it was too hard, that I just couldn't do it. I had tried when I was very, very young, like around 8 or 9. I had tried, but I was just I was too little. I couldn't fit my hands around the guitar to try and play. So I gave it up for a long time. And then my dad started playing guitar around me more. And when I saw him starting to play more is when I picked it up again. And I started just teaching myself how to play. I started learning songs overnight. I would stay up for just hours playing guitar, just learning everything I could, learning all my favorite songs until I just kind of stopped learning songs and I started writing more of my own stuff. Um, I've never written any lyrics, but I write like chord progressions, I write little tunes, and then that's how she writes lyrics and the actual song that goes with it.
Beautiful.
Okay,
Very cool.
I got you.
Beautiful.
And then I also started kind of late, I think, in comparison to a lot of singers that I met on the show and just a lot of singers in general. Then again, there's people who don't start until they're like 40, like Jelly Roll, and then they still are able to become complete stars. So it doesn't really have a lot to do with it. But I started I started singing in middle school, and I didn't I really started, I guess, like singing in front of people in high school because I did the school musicals and I did choir. And my choir teacher is actually the person who really pushed me to sing more. So she would give me solos and probably gave me the lead a few times because she wanted me to actually, I think, see what everybody else was seeing, at the very least what she was seeing in me. But yeah, it really hasn't been that long. It's been less than 10 years for me. And I think you too, right?
Yeah, I've only been playing for about 8 years,
Yeah.
give or take.
Which is such a great point, how you say, like, yeah, sure, maybe starting later in comparison to others, but like the chronology of time, like creativity and talent and skill and passion really kind of transcends that logical timeline sometimes. And the fact that you had resonance with something, you're passionate about it, you followed it, you have this innate talent, and you worked at it, like, how beautiful that creativity can kind of carry you no matter when you start.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Very cool.
So let me ask you this. So you're like, all right, I can sing. I've got encouragement from my teachers. I'm doing choir. So what's the gap between, all right, I'm going to be singing in plays and, performing a little bit, to now I'm going to audition for American Idol? Like, can you kind of fill in, like, how does that happen, I guess? 'Cause that seems like a big jump.
It is. And I think like a lot of like I don't want to say stars because I don't think of myself as a star, but a lot of people that are in the spotlight currently, that is always the illusion that their journey gives, is that 1 second they were doing this thing and then suddenly they were this huge name, or they were releasing this huge song or doing this on TV. And it is exactly that. It's an illusion because it is a big jump, and it is one that took me 8 years to do. I mean, it really didn't go from being the lead in the musical to like auditioning for American Idol. It started, I mean, singing in the car, and then it went to a solo in a choir concert, and then it went to solos, like a whole song in the choir concert, and then it went to being in the school musicals and going to college and being in different chamber choirs, and eventually it led to competition, which was actually a big thing that I really disliked about the music industry. I didn't like competing because it gave me anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety around it. Um, but I think it honestly, it's a lot of it is in um, correlation with just maturity and what you are interested in that year or whatever it may be. I think 2020 and COVID and lockdown gave a lot of artists and singers more time with themselves to look at it and say, like, is this something I want to do? What would I do with it? Um, and so that had a big influence on me as well. So when competition was back, and even though I wasn't a big fan of the anxieties that went with it, I just wanted to do something that gave me another extra push to improve myself. And I actually ended up winning a local competition in Maine, and that, in correlation with some other things like my birth family and my real family and everything else, um, pushed me to say, why don't I just try auditioning for American Idol? Because it's easy, it's virtual, and it could be a fun adventure. Just because I'm not doing anything this year was kind of the attitude almost. Um, but yeah, that's how I came to that decision. But it was about 6 years in the making.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So Nate, what did you think of all this? When it was like, how did this manifest? Was it Julia coming to you saying, "Hey, I'm going to try this out," or did you have any kind of influence in this idea? Where you were like, "My girlfriend's crazy," I never should have got a job at the Apple Store. What happened there? What were your thoughts on all of this?
So she actually didn't tell me until the final round of the online audition. So there's 3 rounds of online auditions,
Mhm,
and she went through the first 2 without telling me.
mhm.
And then during the final round, she brought me into the basement of her parents' house with my guitar and told me to play one of our originals. And I was just confused, but I was like, okay, I guess we can go do that in the basement. That seems like a thing we do. And we went downstairs. I noticed that her laptop was open and that Zoom was opened up and she was in a meeting room. And I just kind of sat down behind the computer so that I wasn't on camera and played our original song, Fall. And after that, a couple of the producers told her that she's going to Nashville to sing in front of Luke, Lionel, and Katie. And it wasn't until
This is
then that
wild.
I that was that that I pieced it together, and I was like, "Oh, that's what this is."
Did I really
Okay.
not tell you?
You didn't tell
Oh
me.
my god.
You didn't tell me, and then after the Zoom call, you kind of hung up, and then you just kind of casually went upstairs because I think you
Dead.
thought you had told me.
That sounds like me, because I feel like I told you in my head, or like I said something like it's for a video,
Yeah,
but it made sense to me.
yeah. But then I came upstairs and I was like, I didn't know that you had auditioned for American Idol. And then you were like, oh, yeah. Well, now we're going to Nashville to sing in front of Lionel, Luke, and
Katie.
Wow. What a cool story.
Megan knew.
Oh my gosh. And then, so I'm curious too, like just thinking of the bravery of all this, especially just listening to you say that, the competitive aspect of some of these things, Julia, can be stressful and anxiety producing. Like what helped you really like transcend those things, or just sort of say, okay, this makes me anxious, but I'm going to do it anyway. Like how do you navigate that? That's really challenging to do.
Yeah. I mean, physically, I didn't really know until I got to Nashville, and I'm gonna make it fast of a story because I think people know it already. But there's this huge bodyguard, and he could tell that I was really nervous, and he actually like kind of like signaled me over, and he said, "I used to be a fighter." And before we went into the ring, we would do a crucial breathing exercise that a lot of people do wrong. When you take a deep breath, you're not supposed to let it out slowly because it doesn't release anything. You need to exhale deeply and then shoot it out. Like, and you can actually see me doing it as I walk into my audition, and that released some tension physically for me that day, and that's something that I do now every time we go on stage. But I think, like, in the bigger picture, mentally, how did I go from not liking competition to joining probably one of the largest competitions globally? Um, I don't really know. It's not a very easy answer. I think one of the biggest things was that I didn't have any expectations for myself. In turn, there was no way for me to be disappointed in myself. And I knew that everybody around me, my support system, I knew that they thought I would do well, but I also knew that there was no expectation of me to do well. There was no disappointment or anger or unfairness that would have been felt by anybody who supported me because it's television. And so it wasn't grounded in anything, um I guess, really truly music based, which is what I hold dear to my heart, nor is any real competition, to be honest, because it's all judged by somebody else's opinion. So I think that, like, my support system and also just the internal monologue that as long as I'm happy with what I do, it doesn't matter really. I think those two things really helped me just take the leap and kind of get over my anxieties around competition to the extent to do them.
Stunning.
That's so well said.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's so well said.
Thank you for sharing that.
You know, I watched some of your performances online. I'm in a full transparency, did not watch you live. But I was going through one song that you covered, and I think it was in the final week, the week maybe you were eliminated. It was Rome by the B-52s. And I wanted to share with you, I saw them, I had the privilege to see them live in 2010. And yeah, it was front row for them. It was outdoor venue in Boston. At the time, it was the Bank of America Pavilion. Probably like it has several titles since then. But your rendition was unreal. Just the way you commanded the stage, and I just wanted to applaud you for doing Kate Pearson and Cindy Wilson and Fred Schneider and Keith Strickland, doing them all right. You did just an unbelievable job. So
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. That song was super representative, I think, because I knew the week we picked the songs like 4 weeks before, but I knew the week before we were all pretty confident that I was on borrowed time at that point in the competition. Just looking at who I was up against in numbers, um, and it was a weird choice because that competition is not rigged, so it does matter what you do, um, and I think there's always that possibility that had you chosen like the number one Billboard, everybody knows that song and done it well, you could have bumped something out. And I had those thoughts going into that round, and well, I know the B-52s, and I know that my people love the B-52s, but in a competition like that, nobody knew the B-52s, right? That wasn't a smart choice to do for that song, and I didn't care because I love the B-52s, and I grew up with them. They were like my favorite band, and they inspired me so much musically that I just you had to go out of that competition because you didn't know when. You had to do every round like it was your last, and you had to do it for yourself. Because had I chosen a different song and still gotten eliminated, or even gone through and then got eliminated the next round, it would have tainted the experience knowing that I had done something for a competition that was inevitably going to end in 2 weeks anyways, instead of taking the moment and doing what I wanted to do. So thank you. That was one of my favorite songs I did.
That's cool. I love the authenticity.
So powerful.
That's really cool.
So powerful. All right, Tanner, what do you think?
Well, I know we want to get into a deep cut. Right before we do that, I do want to give you both the opportunity. We kind of glazed over like this Here in Maine tour, but once you were done with the audio experience, you came back to Maine and you performed literally anywhere and everywhere. It capped off with a huge performance in Bangor at the Cross Insurance Center, where you raised money for the Maine Cancer Foundation. And I mean, if you could maybe just talk about maybe one or two highlights from the whole tour itself, and kind of like something that you enjoyed. And then beyond that, I think our listeners are just going to kind of want to know any future projects that you have coming up. Like, when's the album dropping? That's what we're doing, But go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Well, holistically, just the Here in Maine tour was a mind child that came to life when I came off the show, because I hadn't been home. I mean, I had been in and out, but it really had been a year of us just being in LA, in Hawaii, and Santa Monica and Nashville and all of that. It had been a year process, and I wanted to be home. And I wanted to also thank Maine for putting me through every week on that competition, because that's definitely what was happening. I mean, it was just, we wanted to say thank you, but also, I guess, strike when it was hot. Although I think a misconception about it, and we knew it would be, was that, they can only perform in Maine, right? Oh, there she goes. You're only in Maine, and now you're old news, or something like that. And it was just not true. We had thousands of inquiries to bring us all over the United States, and we still do. And yet we choose to stay here and give the time that we believe the state deserves, in gratitude for the fact that we wouldn't have careers as musicians without this state, in more ways than one. And I think a lot of the highlights, it's easy to get wrapped up in a lot of like numbers and ticket sales, or full audiences versus not. But I always think that it's a highlight that anybody comes to our shows, because before rather, this show, nobody knew who we were. And we were the exact same people doing the exact same thing. It was just almost impossible to build yourself a foundation in such a small state. So the real highlight of the thing is that people care enough to come and listen, or buy a T-shirt, or follow you on your social media, or ask if you have an album out. Yeah, that was something that we were not used to, or still aren't used to. But it's definitely the highlight of the thing, and it's more personal in the Here in Maine tour because we're all from Maine, which is super special to us. Yeah. And then future projects. We're actually planning kind of more of a national approach in 2025. But before that, we still have holiday shows. I think the next one coming up is at the Waterville Opera House. But we have holiday shows kind of home for the holidays-esque, and in and around Maine and New England, before we take our new music to the summer folk festivals. And we have singles being released and an album in the works.
That's awesome.
Incredible.
We can't wait to hear it.
Woo!
And yeah, for folks who don't know, yeah, that Wonderful Opera House show, tickets are on sale now. You should check that out. Fill up that building. Have you ever performed in that venue before?
No, we have not. I hear it's great though.
It is great. Yeah, I've been to a couple shows there, and last spring, Morgan and I actually went to a musical there. We saw Head Over Heels.
Oh, nice.
It was a Go-Go's show that was on Broadway, and they brought it to Waterville. So it's a really
Nice.
fun venue.
And your show is January 11th. Is that true? Is that the date?
I believe so, yes.
Right on. Cool. So we'll make sure we promote that. Wow. All right. Well, let's see. I guess it's time to move into our deep cut.
Yeah,
Does that sound good? So as part of the show, one of the things that we do is we go a little bit deeper and sort of as we wind towards the end of a question that, you can kind of tinker on a little bit, just sort of think on. This is for both of you or all three of you. If Otis wants to chime in, he's more than welcome to. So we're talking about holiday spirit, holiday cheer. So no matter how you celebrate, what any of your belief systems are, there's always sounds of this upcoming kind of winter season that just like can't be ignored, makes you feel nostalgic, makes you feel however it makes you feel. So sleigh bells are an obvious one, crackles of a lit fire, soft chorus of a church choir maybe, the brutal or wispy winter wind, or even the robust bellow of an all too familiar ho, ho, ho. So like what seasonal sounds for the three of you, or even songs. So sounds or songs are your favorites of this upcoming season. It could be as simple as a jingle that's familiar, or maybe something a little more abstract or ambient that attunes us to the holiday or the winter end of year season. What would you say?
I think my core memory of holiday sound is jazz. That's kind of weird, but like it is just like holistically jazz. When I was growing up, my mom plays trombone in a big band, several actually, and jazz was a huge part of my upbringing, like big band, quartet, classic jazz, smooth jazz, all of that. And we had this one specific Christmas album. I think it was from Williams-Sonoma. Like it was like a Williams-Sonoma brand like CD. And it kind of, I guess, just accustomed to my brain that like holiday season family cheer was associated with jazz. So now whenever I am in a place of jazz and it's cold outside and you smell like a fire like in the distance, that's a holiday to me.
That is magical. Totally.
How about you?
Very specifically, the sound of stepping on like almost freshly matted down snow with like winter boots, like that sort of crunch sound. But it's still like not quite as like soft as snow, but not as like hard as stepping on pavement. Just that nice crunching sound that it's like fresh snow is just falling on the ground and it's not slippery enough that you would fall in the driveway.
I know exactly what you mean. That is such a nostalgic sound. What about you, Otis? Anything to say there, buddy? He's out.
Odin.
Perhaps the sound of silence.
I adore it. Oh my God, the pause. Hi, baby. Tanner, what about you? What do you think?
So I'm taking a little bit of a different approach. I'm going to be the Grinch of this podcast. And it's a sound that annoys me. It's a song that annoys me. I don't know why. And maybe you can help illuminate me and tell me why I'm wrong. But it's Little Drummer Boy. I can't stand Little Drummer Boy. And there's so many variations of it, and just that parumpa pum pum. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter who sings it. Like I don't even think David Bowie can make it cool. So I'm just, I don't know. And I know people love it and are nostalgic for it. But for me, I'm like, I don't know. It makes my heart shrink. But yeah, so that's my answer. Little Drummer Boy. Aside from that, I love the holidays. Morgan, how about you?
Very good, Tanner. We need a little bit of Scrooge energy, or was it Grinch? Grinch energy.
Grinch energy, Scrooge energy.
So I would say there's several things. Like when you were talking about the snow, I just got an image of like when you walk or ride over a puddle that looks like it's frozen, but there's like no ice underneath it, and it kind of pops down, and there's like this sort of that like icy kind of cackle that the ice makes. So that one, thank you for jogging my memory there. And then just Imagine by John Lennon. I have such nostalgia of that song and such adoration for that song. And I used to be in a little theater troupe, and we used to do the Polar Express as kids. We would do that little play. And at the end, we would all sing Imagine. And I just, like the piano chords in the beginning, it makes me feel very nostalgic and warm inside. So that would be mine. That would be
the
mine.
Nutcracker too. The Nutcracker easily.
Yeah.
The Nutcracker puts me in the spirit every time.
Totally. Yep.
Frank Sinatra.
Oh, Frank.
Just Frank.
Anything Frank Sinatra. It's just
anything
Christmas.
Frank. We love it.
Unless it's covering Little Drummer Boy.
Unless then it's
That's off the table.
Band.
Look at this dog. Oh my god. All right, Tanner, what's next?
So now we are going to transition, as all of our listeners know. Every episode accompanies, we have a Mix It Up playlist that accompanies the episode, which you can listen to by clicking the Spotify description. We've asked Julia to contribute 4 songs to the playlist. Nate, my bad, man. We didn't accept a contribution at all from you. I feel terrible about that.
He did. No, I think we split mine.
Yeah, we split it 2 and 2.
Now I feel better about
Perfect.
that. Okay, good. I don't want to be rude. But would you want to highlight maybe one of your selections for the playlist?
Which one did we pick together? Kaiserion?
Yeah, that one was one we picked together.
Kaiserion is the one that we picked together.
Okay, what about Kaiserion? What do you love about it?
I don't know. Our thing was, because we love music so much and our favorite song changes every day. So we started the idea, like our idea of the playlist or like what we would pick with the idea of like, okay, what song do we not skip? Rather, because like we skip a lot of songs, like even if we like them, it just means that we get tired of them sometimes. In Kaiserion, we never skip. We never skip it. It's from one of my favorite bands, Ghost. And I discovered them in middle school. I think because they had a song with my name as the title. I think I had been like looking up my name in Apple Music, and I found their song, and then I love their band. And we saw them live a few times together, so it's just like a nice band and a nice memory for us. And the song is just fun, it gets you hyped.
So good.
I love it.
So good.
I love it. Morgan, what about your selection?
Okay, so I was listening to some of your selections, Julia, and I was like, okay, because one of them you put on was The Greatest Showman, and I was like getting into this like sort of like theatrical musical energy, and I love me a musical here and there. I really do. And Rent is one of my favorite musicals. The music is exquisite. Obviously, the story is so moving and important. So there's one song called "I'll Cover You," and it's on the Rent soundtrack. And that it builds beautifully. It has amazing rhythm. It's like a sing out loud in the car, like just a really powerful kind of anthem. So, and the message is gorgeous. So, yeah, "I'll Cover You" from the Rent soundtrack. What about you, Tanner?
So the song I want to highlight is a new single by Yee, our friend Ben Shepherd, who contributed the theme song to this podcast. He has an album coming out on January 25th, and the lead single is called Teeth Don't Bite. And for those who don't know, Yee or Yeye. We're not entirely sure how to pronounce it, but Ben's an electronic musician, and this one is pretty trippy. He's layered quite a bit onto this track, and you're talking about your love for jazz music around Christmas time, and with these bedroom producers, the way they kind of decide, I'm going to put a guitar here, I'm going to put a horn here, I'm going to do whatever here.
Mhm.
There's a lot of jazz elements within that, and it's so complicated and so beyond what I, could ever contribute to anything anywhere. I think I, maxed out at hot cross buns. But I'm really impressed with what Ben does, and he makes great music. So check out Teeth Don't Bite by Yee.
Right on.
All right.
Okay, so if we can believe it, we're kind of making our way towards the end here. But before we do, we just wanted to make sure people know where to find you. So we're gonna do a little plug for your socials. Got some social media handles for you here. So on TikTok at Julia Sings a Bit, Instagram and Facebook as well. Julia Sings a Bit. Is that right?
It is.
Well, right on. And Spotify, just search Julia Gagnon. That's JuliaGagnon. And then for us on It's Music Time, like you can find us on It's Music Time podcast on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook.
Nate, do you want to plug your socials?
All of my socials, I believe, are just Nate_Haven.
There we go.
Perfect.
Nate_Haven. Love it.
I love it. Yeah. And so, so we're at It's Music Time podcast on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And don't touch that dial. We have an encore performance coming up at the end of the episode, right before we sign off. This is Julia and Nate performing Little Things, an original song. This was back on 207 that you performed that. It's that performance. So thank you for contributing, and we hope our listeners enjoy it. And wow, season 1 in the books. Morgan, congratulations to you and to Julia and to Nate and to Odin.
And to Odin. Odin.
Yes. Congrats
Odin.
all around. And thanks so much to our listeners.
Yeah, for real. But thank you for the 2 of you, the 3 of you, for making time. I know life is busy. You have a lot going on. You have shows coming up. You're writing music. Just, all of it. So thank you so much for chatting with us. It's truly, truly, truly an honor.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Yeah. Odin, you've stolen our hearts.
And you know what? We should plug our own holiday party for anyone interested.
Sure.
We are hosting a holiday party at Mine Oyster in Booth by Harbor, Maine. The band Hello Newman will be playing. We had Jonah Bruce on as our inaugural It's Music Time guest. Maybe there's a way we can even convince Julia and Nate to come down and sing some. Yeah, sing some J-Lo. Why not?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I guess it's time to sign off. I'll just do a little wrap for the podcast. Thank you again so much for being here, the 3 of you. Thank you, universe, for tuning in. We'd love to hear any feedback, listeners, any comments or reviews or questions. Share the podcast, share with a friend. We appreciate your support. Until next time, stay cooler than cool. Thank you again, Julia and Nate. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Getting up at 2 a.m. just to watch the dim sunrise. Cadillac, it holds good honest folk who never choose to lie about the way they live the hard life. Grandma says that Grandpa's boots are twice as big as they are now. Nothing in my mind can comprehend. The boots were smaller. Somehow God needs to find me and lead me to the light. And I learned more than I'd ever thought I know. Dee-dee-do, in the sea average plateau, when my kids ask me from the backseat, oh, what's it mean to really be seen? And watch Jimmy's on my ice cream. What's it mean to love the pain of laughing cold? Is it cool to play like Vikings? Is it well worth all the hiking? What what's it mean to be a small town child and live for little things. I'm a liar if I say the truth, and is a wicked skill of mine. I won't lie to you, though I have been looking for more time. God needs to find me and lead me to the light. And I know more than I'd ever thought I know. Did it all with a sea average plateau where my kids ask me from the backseat, oh, what's it mean to really be seen? And want Jimmy's on my ice cream. What's it mean to love the pain of laughing cold? Is it cool to play like Vikings? Is it well worth all the hiking? What's it mean to be a small town child and live for little things? Straight through and through, but I know I've been trying to get to you. I just wanna be someone's favorite brain too, but I know life goes the way it goes. And I know more than I'd ever thought I know. Did it all with a sea average plateau where my kids ask me from the backseat, oh, what's it mean to really be seen? And what Jimmy's on my ice cream? What's it mean to love the pain of laughing cold? Is it cool to play like Vikings? Is it well worth all the hiking? What's it mean to be a small town child and live for little things?
The It's Music Time podcast is an independent passion project produced by Tanner Grover and Morgan Mitchell. The theme song for this podcast is by Ben Shepherd, the artist known as Yay Yay. Find him on Instagram at Yay Yay Music. Thanks for tuning in to the It's Music Time podcast. See you next time.